the truth of financial sobriety is that you want to stop the madness of thinking that you're less than, and something else will make you feel more than. Listen to me closely now. The number one law of money.
All right, so the topic of the podcast is sobriety, but you can be sober from so many things. And very often in recovery circles, people talk about financial sobriety and how it really goes hand in hand, or isn't at the moment going hand in hand, with larger efforts towards sobriety. So I would ask you, my friend, what does financial sobriety mean?
First of all, I would ask you, my more dearest friend, is tell me your definition of sobriety. What is it?
Stopping the madness.
All right, so financial sobriety is where you are stopping the madness. Stopping the madness of what? The madness of being afraid all the time, being insecure all the time. Afraid and insecure of what? Not having enough money to pay your bills, and thinking you're never going to get out of credit card debt, thinking that everybody's going to think less than of you. They're going to think you are a failure, you're just whatever, because you don't have money. So the truth of financial sobriety, and any kind of sobriety or whatever it may be, is that you want to stop the madness of thinking that you're less than, and something else will make you feel more than, and become then addicted to that feeling, addicted to that credit card, addicted to what you may drink, addicted to whatever pill you may take that makes you feel stronger and more than, because you don't know how to stop the madness.
Do you see a lot of that in your work, people who become very financially unsober?
It's, I think most people, believe it or not, are financially unsober. Because if you look at the credit card debt today in this world, if you look at the fact that 3/4 of the people, almost 75% of the people in the United States of America, Cat, don't have $400 to their name in an emergency savings account. If you look at that right now, more people are 90 days late on their mortgage, more than have been late on it since 2019. It's almost like we live in a constant state of unsobriety when it comes to our money, because money, money is the only thing that you could spend if you don't have it.
Yeah.
Think about that. If your liquor bottle is empty, you can't have it. If you're out of the pills, you can't have it. If you don't have any cash whatsoever to your name, you have a lot of plastic that lets you do whatever you want to do. And it's not until those credit cards are maxed out, you can't do any more loans, you have hit total rock bottom, that financial sobriety becomes a possibility.
Well, and a necessity, right?
It's always a necessity, yes.
So obviously not having money leads to desperation and you do crazy things. That's not what we're really talking about here today. I mean, look, sometimes you're hard on your luck, you just don't have the money, you've lost a job. But what I'm really interested in is the psychology behind people who go into crazy financial cycles, not because they have to, right? So what causes someone to be a compulsive gambler, a compulsive shopper, an over donator? I mean, whatever the things are whatever the trouble you can get into, what's behind it?
It's really very simple, almost one line. When you feel less than, you spend more than. When you don't have self-worth, it kind of ends up that you really don't have net worth. And that is because you and your money are one. Your money is nothing more than a physical manifestation of who you are. And if you want to know how you're doing, oh, money will show you exactly how you are doing. So when you feel less than, what do? That's when you go out and you try to impress your friends by treating them to dinner or to lunch. You go out and you buy new clothes. You go out and you do whatever it is that makes you look more to everybody around you. So they're like, oh, look at you. You're doing well, aren't you? But yet you're so empty inside, and you can't fill yourself up when you have a hole inside who you are. So truthfully, Kat, it's really no difference than any other drug. Like on my podcast, Women and Money, sometimes I talk about being a money drunk. But you don't even know that you've overdosed. You don't even know that you've had a blackout because other people can't see it. Other people can't smell it. Other people can't recognize it because most people in this world are financial fakers. And people admire you for the things you have versus who you are. So it's actually harder on some level because most people don't even know the truth about your financial situation.
To that point, when one is giving up substances, it's not easy, it's awful, but there's a border to it. Do not drink. Do not pick up that pipe. Do not do whatever bad thing. But you must interact with money. Everybody must, on a daily basis, interact with money. So what are the keys? What can someone do to regulate their relationship with money, which might be wildly imbalanced, when you can't just put it down like I could put down alcohol?
What you can put down are your credit cards. What you can get rid of is the plastic that allows you to feel more than, but in reality creates you to be less than. So go back to money. A lot of people feel like they're plastic, like they can go, where does it come from? It comes from the ATM machine. So if you go to a totally cash basis, get rid of your credit cards and vow to yourself that when the cash is gone, you can't go to your credit cards and the cash is gone. Oh, that will start to teach you about being responsible to your money and how your money can be responsible to you. Now, all of these things sound easy. They aren't easy. But you have to understand that just because you have credit card debt, just because you aren't financially sober, doesn't make you a bad person. It just makes you a person who's really just bad with your money. And so you have to change how you think about who you are. You have to stand in your truth. You have to, just like in many instances possibly with other type of addictions, you have to tell people how much credit card debt you have. You have to show the world the truth about who you are, not about what they think about you and what they think you are.
What you're saying sounds monumental. I can't imagine people doing that, walking around being like, hey, guess what? I got about $100,000 on credit card debt. How about you? That seems crazy, Suze.
And it may seem crazy, but I have some things like that on YouTube. But if you've ever been to a talk that I've given or whatever, I've had rooms of 100,000 people where the question was, I want you to stand up if you have mortgage debt. I want you to stand up if you have credit card debt. I want you to stand up if you have student loan debt. Any kind of debt, I want you to stand up. 95% of the room would stand up. And the thing next would be, I want you to tell the person sitting or standing next to you, even if it's somebody you came here with and they don't have a clue, how much credit card debt you have, how much debt you have. The whole room erupts. And it's such an extraordinary sound because they don't want to stop talking about it. And I have to bring them back to silence to be able to go on. But that is the beginning of saying, I am not financially sober. That is the beginning of saying to everybody, I have been a financial liar. Because if you have credit card debt that you can't pay off in full at the end of every month, I'm here to tell you, you are on your way to really being a money drunk. You really are. And you're going to wish you had stopped now.
What's the psychic weight of debt?
Oh, you're going to love this. All right. So when I had the Suze Orman show, which is, still on Freevee, because I didn't want to be on cable where people had to pay to see it. So it's free, all 600 shows. And I would ask them, how much credit card debt do they have? They would tell me. Does your spouse know about it? No. Do your friends know about it? No. And if they told me that they were like $20,000 in debt that they were hiding, I would then say to them, is it possible that you're also 20 to 40 pounds overweight? And they would always say yes. And the next question was, how did you know? Because when you hide anything, when you hold on to the truth, you hold on to everything, which means weight as well, because it's a serious psychic weight. It's a physical weight that you are holding on to something that other people, you want them to know, but you don't have what it takes to tell them. So obviously, the next step was, let's have your spouse come on and let's tell them right now.
How'd that go?
It always goes great. Because the truth of the matter is, there's nothing worse than you holding on to something. That's worse than your spouse or whoever it is being angry at you and whatever. Because when you get yourself into financial trouble, especially if you're married, Cat, you're getting your spouse into financial trouble as well. Because M just doesn't stand for marriage, it stands for money. And the number one reason for divorce today is arguments over money. And 50% of the people who get married get divorced. So if you think that you're getting away with something, you're not getting away with anything, because it's damaging you. And when something damages you, the person you're in relationship with, they don't have the you that you used to be when they married you. And now you're going to lose something that all the money in the world could never buy.
Well, you got that right. Now, you are in a beautiful long-term relationship. What's your advice?
Oh, my KT. I've been with my KT now 23 years. And it was a little bit different because I had gone through a lot of relationships that were just the pits. They just were. And it always just amazed me, Kat, that such a powerful woman financially could be in for crap relationships. But that's besides the point, because money isn't what makes you powerful. What makes you powerful is how you feel about who you are. So I met KT, and I was a very wealthy woman at that time, but so was KT. So we came together where money wasn't an object. It was our love between us. To this day, we don't have a joint account. To this,
what?
We don't have joint accounts. I have my accounts, my brokerage firm, my stock portfolios, and so does KT.
So like when the T-Mobile bill comes in, what do? Split it down the middle?
No, it's where I just pay for it and I don't care. I don't care. But here's what is important. Neither of us can make a major purchase of anything without the other person saying, yeah, I like that. And we never argue about money. And if somebody doesn't want to do something, we don't do it. If somebody wants to do it, but the other person doesn't, it's over. Doesn't matter. We don't do it.
Do you feel like there has to be that kind of financial parity to have a successful relationship?
No, not on any level. Because the truth of it is, I'm far more powerful financially than KT, by a lot. However, if you think what makes you powerful is your money, you are just the most ridiculous person ever. The powerful person, I am telling you, in this relationship is KT. She is a dynamo. She rules the roost. It does not matter how much money I have. She is not intimidated by my money. And that is because we don't think about it. We present our real selves to each other, our real vulnerabilities. What KT does for me, all the money in the world could never buy. What pisses me off is when I see in relationships the one who makes the money and the one that stays at home with the children, the one who makes the money, regardless of the sum, they think they are the powerful ones because they're working so hard for it. Oh, give me a break. Try to stay at home with 3 kids. Try to stay at home and do whatever. And so there's got to be a way that you understand things need to be equal between you. And the mistake that many people make when it comes to money, Kat, is that maybe they have a home. They both work. One makes, let's just say, $3,000 a month. The other maybe makes $7,000 take home. Just let's say that's true. And their joint expenses are $3,000 a month. The mistake they make is they think they should split everything 50-50. So the one making $3,000 should put in $1,500. The one making $7,000 should put in $1,500. That's not equal. You need equal amount via percentages, not amounts of money. So you would combine your $3,000 and your $7,000 take home. That's $10,000. Divide that into $3,000. That's 30%. That means the one with $3,000 only has to come up with $900 a month. The one with $7,000, right, has to come up with $2,100 a month. That's equal so that you have money left over to be independent and remain autonomous.
Yes, yes, yes on everything you said. I am buying everything you're selling. I'm thinking about your life with KT. I'm thinking about your big life, all the things you've done, the world you've created. Is it ever a burden, Suze? Is all the money, all the bigness, is it ever a burden? Do you ever wish, you know what I'd like to do? Get a little hut and just sit on an island and fish and let that be that.
It's so very funny that you said that. I was just going to say the goal isn't for me now and KT to have more. The goal now is for us to make more out of what we have for others.
So, listen, I've studied your career. I've known you a long time now. Suze Orman has always been all heart. Whether there's how many zeros behind it, you are all heart, and you've always wanted the right thing, you know, especially for women and truly for everybody. And I'm not just blowing sunshine, and I think it's amazing. Talk to me about the psychology of giving money. You know we spoke about the psychology of not having money. We know what it feels like to have lots of money, which is apparently pretty great. So what does it feel like to give, and why is that important even when you feel like you don't have anything to give? So many of us feel so strapped all the time. Why is it still important to give?
So listen to me closely now, which is the number one law of money is power attracts money. Powerlessness repels it. I could go into the reasons why that is true if you want me to, but that is the number one law of money. When you go through life holding on so tightly to think that this is all I have, I can't let any of it go. If I let any of it go, I'll really have nothing. The key is you have to learn how to open your hands to receive that which is meant to come your way with open hands. And there's only one way I know to force the opening of those hands, and that is to give money away. How much do you give? An amount that's respectful to you. $1 to you may be harder to give than $100,000 to me. So it isn't the amount. It's forcing yourself to feel generous enough that you do have something to give. When you feel like you have something to give, you feel powerful. And when you feel powerful, the number one law of money comes into effect. So you have to go through life, everybody, with your hands open to receive that which is meant to come your way. Because if you think it's your destiny to not have money, to always be in debt, to always be less than, I have news for you. You are 1,000,000% wrong. You know, God just doesn't look down and say, you're going to be rich, you're going to be poor, you're going to be this, you're going to be that. No. We are all the perfect manifestations of God. And I believe that with every ounce of my being. But you have to know that you are that light. You do have that ability. But when you close down, you also go into darkness. That you don't see yourself, nobody else sees you, and therefore, how are you going to make money? How are you going to do those things? Because when you meet somebody that's going to give you a job or do whatever, since people control money, they're the ones who hire you, they're the ones who fire you, they're the ones, who give you a pay raise or whatever, and people love power. So if you go to them and they sense your powerlessness, you're going to repel them, therefore you repel money. But if you go in there and you feel powerful because you were generous, you helped somebody, and you always give to a nonprofit. You go to a place of worship. You go to somewhere where that dollar or whatever it is helps a lot of people. When you feel that way, others will feel that in you, and that's what they're going to hire. They're not going to hire your resume. They're going to hire how they feel when they are in your presence. But you have to feel great in your own presence. And the best way to do that, open up, people. Open up.
I love it. I don't think we can say it any better than that. And it's absolutely full circle. If you want to stop your own financial craziness and become financially sober, it sounds like opening your hand and your heart.
Always. Because what else is there? Really, what else is there, Kat? It's, the thing about money is so interesting is that most people who claim bankruptcy twice. You can never, ever, ever solve a financial problem with money. Ever, ever, ever. You can only solve a financial problem when you solve the problem of how you feel about who you are. And you start that by standing in the truth, by the way. You stand in your truth. So if you're listening to me right now, and you are in that situation, do me a favor. Pick up the phone and call somebody and tell them how much debt you have. Pick up the phone and tell somebody, or go to their house or go in the other room and just tell somebody about money that you've done, that you've been hiding. And stand in your truth. And you want to know what's going to be funny? You're going to tell somebody, I have $5,000 of credit card debt, maybe. And you know what that person's going to say to you? Oh, my God, I have 10. Just remember, I said that. All right.
I will remember everything you said. Thank you so, so much. And I'm really excited for you and KT and all the big things you have coming up, or the tiny things you have coming up.
We don't have a clue what's coming up, but we're sure open to see what's meant to come our way.
Love it. Thank you so much.
I just have to say something to you. Greenleaf is a very interesting last name when it comes to money, if you think about that. Leaves are green, and they're on the tree, and some trees are full of it, the leaves. And then every once in a while they shed their leaves, and then they get even fuller again. Just something for you to think about. And some trees never shed their leaves. Which tree are you going to be, Miss Greenleaf?
Well, I've definitely been through a shedding, so I'd like to multiply now, fruitfully.
Then you can, and then you will.